Okay, here we go then. The last race of the day, it's all to play for. Race 2, it all comes down to the next 14 laps. And away they go. Now, and there's Darren spinning out as well. Darren, there's contact there, push Kieran wide. Oh, but he's gone off. What's going on? Shane's also there in the BMW. Oh, nearly loses it. Kieran's going to have to slow down. No, he's gone too much. It's Josh here, and he is leading. This is fantastic for Josh. Oh, a bit of a love tap. And Josh, oh my God, who's going to take it? I think it's Darren. I think it's going to be Rob. Rob gets it. He's actually on the grass. This isn't good for Tom. And he's made the move. Look at that. Through Eau Rouge. Oh, that's Mike. Mike's gone off. Oh, Craig sideways. Big time. Is it going to be enough? No, Sam takes it and takes the title ahead of Tom. An even slimmer grid then for the last race here at Laguna Seca. Just 7 cars on the grid after more retirements. On the front row of the grid is Mark Nichol in the Renault Megane, and next to him is the first of the K-Tech Racing Subaru WRXs of Kieran Thomas. Row 2 is Josh Hardy in the Renault Megane. Next to him is the second K-Tech Racing Subaru of Tom Foster. Row 3 is Craig Kellett with the Elite Racing Nissan GTR. Next to him is Darren Parker in the Team Parker Racing Renault Megane, and the back row of the grid is Stephen Heath in the Subaru WRX. Okay, here we go then. This is the final race of the day at Laguna Seca. Just 7 cars on the grid, and away they go. And Kieran's got a good start, but Craig Kellett has got an even better start as he goes in between the Subaru and the Renault of Josh Hardy there. A little bit of contact in the first corner. Craig hits Mark. On board with Mark then. Looking to get past Kieran after he goes into the lead of the race from his grid position. So Craig up to 3rd already, Darren in 4th, Josh is 5th, and Tom and Stephen are fighting here for 6th and 7th. And that's Kieran off the track. He's gone wide, so he's gone down from the lead of the race into last place. A little bit of a tap there by Stephen, but nothing too bad. It is a non-contact sport, but the element of rubbing his racing is here. So there are... Oh, that's Tom. He's gone off. So Tom is off and into the gravel, so that's put Tom at the back now as Stephen and Kieran go further up the straight. Tom is a little bit behind. We've got a little replay of that to see what happened, and let's have a look at it now. So let's have a look at Tom, see what happened here. He actually runs wide onto the dirt and then struggles to stop the Subaru for the next corner, and wheel spins the Subaru out of the gravel. On board with Tom. As I say, just getting used to those hards here. So when he runs wide, he's so close to hitting Josh there. Josh. Lucky to not get too far behind the pack. Yeah, so Tom unfortunately outbrakes himself and actually avoids Josh so that he doesn't hit him, and puts himself into the gravel trap. Luckily he gets out of it. Further up then, Josh here looking to have a fight with Mark, as Mark has now been overtaken by Darren and Craig, so Craig is leading the race. And if Craig wins this, it'll be the 2nd win of the day. Darren needs all the points he can, but that's Mark who's gone past him, so Mark has gone ahead. And this is a good fight between the three Renaults here. Darren just couldn't quite get the Renault hooked up round the corkscrew, and it's allowed Mark to get past. So just 7 cars on the grid for this race. Unfortunately, we have had retirements from both Gary Black in the Lexus and Mike Kuipers in the Nissan GTR. Both were unable to get their cars out onto the grid due to technical issues. And that's Darren who's got past Mark again. So as much as we've got just a 7-car race here, it's already proving to be still full of action. Mark going over the curbs. Josh waiting to see if he can take advantage of this battle here and get his first podium of the day. Josh has struggled around here. Another frustrating event for Josh. Really just not able to hook up that Renault the same as last season so far. But it's early days. He's still bagging in the points, so he's just got a difficult fight ahead of him, as both Mark Nicol and Mike Kuipers proving to be very competitive this season. Further back, there's Kieran in 5th, and Tom and Stephen are still at it at the back here in their 2 Subarus. Stephen working quite closely with the K-Tech Racing team and has had help for the setup of his car. Both Subarus are on the gravel and both Subarus are on the hard tyres, so this will be one to watch. Kieran on his own then, and Josh has just fallen a little bit behind Mark, and Mark has just fallen a little bit behind Darren, so it looks to be that the cars are settling now into their positions. It is a 15-lap race, and so it could end up being a bit spread out with just the 7 cars. Back to watching this race then. Tom on the gravel again, really struggling to get to grips with the Subaru on the hard tyres around this circuit. Stephen just has managed to gain himself a comfortable gap rather than having Tom on his tail end too close, and this will help with Stephen potentially looking to catch up with Kieran, although Kieran is on the softs himself, so it'll be a hard task for Stephen at this moment in time. Things have settled again, as I say. Kieran up in 5th. Oh, that's a rather big cut, but it's actually taken him very wide, so Kieran completely gets that corner wrong. It's not really taken any advantage to that, so I don't think they'll look at that as too much of a malicious move to gain any advantage. On board with Mark, and there, as you can see, is Darren in the foreground, and he is in 2nd. Mark looking to potentially get past, and Craig isn't too far ahead. You can see Craig in the distance. He's not way ahead like he was in race 1, and he was halfway around the track, let alone being in the distance in view. Tom and Stephen again. Stephen ended up starting on the back end of the grid twice, purely because he retired from the first race, so started the second race from the back, and then because he won the second race, the reverse grid put him at the back for race 3 too, so he started at the front and he started at the back twice. So a very unusual event for Heathy, but a very positive one, at least, to think that he's got the pace. He's just getting used to the hard tyres on this one, which is something that everyone has to get used to at the first few races. Whoa. Heathy just loses the back end, so that's actually allowed Tom to get beside him. Tom goes on the inside and Heathy goes wide. And what's happened to Heathy? So Stephen Heath has disappeared from the race. Is that another retirement? I think it is. Oh, that's gutting for Stephen Heath. A real disappointment, a real race that was going on there between Tom and Stephen, but unfortunately he has had some technical issues causing another retirement, a second retirement in the event. That's a big problem. I don't think that's even been heard of. I don't think we've ever had 2 retirements, 2 DNFs in one event and 1 win. That's some set of results for Stephen, especially on your debut. What a way to start. Back then with Mark and Darren. Mark has caught up with Darren, and Mark is showing to be a fair bit stronger here at Laguna. As I said, he had a good win on the first race at second race, sorry, at Monza. So he's got that off his back and looking to fight for the independents, and at the moment he's looking at a strong podium, but all the time that Darren is in front of him, no doubt will want to try and take that second place to get him more points, and this will no doubt push him ahead of Mike, who has been in the lead of the independents for the last couple of races. Mark has been there or thereabouts, but unfortunately, because of Mike's technical issues, he isn't in this race, and that's going to hurt him for a 0 point to take away at the end of this. Further down is now a battle between Kieran and Josh. So as we said, yes, there's 6 cars on the grid now, just 6 cars, but Mark is having a fight with Darren and Kieran is having a fight with Josh, so it's not like there's nothing happening. Josh taking that turn nice and tight along the curbs. This will be a good result for Josh, just for getting the points at least, and it will help him in the independents as well. So going back up on Mike and Harry, who Harry hasn't even raced at all today, so that's going to hurt Harry. Josh goes a little bit wide. Kieran in the gravel again, going very, very wide in the dirt. Josh representing Endangered Gaming for the first time this weekend. As we said, after a last minute split from Seca Racing. Josh had to get his car re-liveried last minute, days before the event here, and it does look pretty smart in a much more navy looking blue, less of the sky blue than beforehand. And something I've seen with Josh at this race weekend is his tendency to wheel spin on the exit of that final sharp corner. Just struggles to get the grip down as he exits the corner. So Mark, unfortunately, looks to be losing his gap between himself and Darren. Darren looking and trying to catch up with Craig, and Darren is now in the 120s, 126 and a 127, so he's getting quicker and quicker, but I don't think it's going to be enough. But with just 4 laps to go, it could be a dream come true if Darren could get the win, but Craig is absolutely solid around here. The consistency is remarkable. Notice the technique that Craig is using there, using all the runoff going wide into the first corner. Looking back at this race then between Kieran and Josh on lap 11 of 15. Josh going wide again. It's a very wide line that Josh takes there as well, so noticing all the different lines that the drivers are taking as they're going around this circuit. It is a tough circuit, very unforgiving, and the runoffs are pretty tough too, with all the dirt, and as soon as you go off the circuit here, it's hard to come back on. Josh nearly losing it there, going over those curbs again. Now Josh is defending really hard and probably looking in his mirrors more than he's looking forward. This is going to slow him down, so it might allow Tom to catch up, but Tom was quite far behind now, still on the hard, so Tom will end up having to take 6th. I mean, 6th isn't great, but it's not the worst, seeing as nobody else is taking any points further down. So again, the 6 guys that are racing here, just bagging the points for being here is going to be more than everyone else who is unable to be here. Lap 12 of 15 then, so coming around to the halfway point of the track. On board with Kieran yet again, and Josh is doing really well to hold his position at the moment. It slightly hits the dirt, but it's not enough to slow him down too much. But Kieran has got a great exit, a very, very good exit into the final corner here. There's Josh again with that wheel spin as he exits. On board with Josh, and you can see Kieran in his rear view mirror. Oh, there's a bit of a mistake there by Josh, and it's allowed Kieran to get past, and all it took was just to go over those curbs. Josh will be frustrated with that, but he isn't going to let him go easily, I don't think, as Kieran just gets 2 wheels on the dirt, so this is going to slow Kieran up a little bit. Josh on the inside, oh no, it's a little bit of a tap, but You can see Josh is going to be frustrated now. He's going to be overdriving the Renault. He's just got to wait for his moment. And look how close that Renault is getting to the Subaru now. Whoa, Josh nearly losing the back end there. Coming up to lap 14 then, onto the last bend. And Josh, the back end, look at that again. So look how much that loses Josh in terms of time and position. On to lap 14 then, and a quick check up on everyone. I don't think this is going to be changing here unless there's any major offs or retirements. So Mark Nichol is still in third. It's going to be a good podium for Mark. Darren, who as much as he's fought hard, hasn't been able to catch up with Craig, and it seems to be the theme of his season so far. Oh, look at Darren getting great air on that corkscrew. Here's our leader in the race for the second time today, and in the overall standings, Craig is dominating the series this season. He's not running away with it completely yet. Darren is hot on his tails, but struggling to keep up and to stop this. Nissan is finding it very difficult. There is Tom, just on his own on the hard tyres, and going to get round, get the points and take it into the next round. So Josh, Kieran still fighting for this last position switch, and again aggressive racing there by Josh. Very bumper to bumper action. It's great to watch, no doubt. Kieran is going to be the old watchful eye to make sure that Josh doesn't make the wrong move. Josh hasn't got very many opportunities now, and he is right on the back end of Kieran here. It could be just a few corners left to go before Josh could get past. It could be, but not be. And Josh has just fallen back a little bit, and Kieran looks like he's going to take the fourth position behind Mark in third. Darren was second. Obviously Craig takes the win, and Josh will take fifth. So Craig wins it then, ahead of Darren in second. Third was Mark, fourth was Kieran, and fifth was Josh after a great race, and Tom will take sixth. Craig takes his second win of the day then here at Laguna Seca Raceway, race 3 of the day. Darren takes second, Mark takes a good third, Kieran takes fourth, Josh is fifth, and Tom is sixth. Stephen unfortunately retires during the race, so doesn't finish, and Mike and Gary didn't even start after retiring with technical issues at the beginning. What this means then, going into round 4 at Dragon Trail, for the overall standings, Craig is leading by 22 points with 152, ahead of Darren with 130. Mike and Mark are both in third with 106. Fifth is Tom with 99, and Kieran jumps up to sixth now with 88, just 1 point ahead of Josh after finishing just ahead of him at the last race there. In seventh position is Josh is in seventh. Eighth is Sam with 71. Sam obviously dropping down now, down to seventh after down to eighth after not racing here at Laguna. Ninth is Harry with 61. 10th is Rob with 46. 11th is Gary with 36. James is 12th with 27, and Stephen Heath still on 21 after not being able to score any points with his DNF in that race again. In the teams then, look at this, it's so much more closer now. Team Parker have been jumped ahead again by Elliott by 2 points. Elliott's on 232, Parker's on 230, and look at K-Tech Racing on 229, just a point behind Parker after Parker and Elliott both having only fielding one cars here at Laguna. So going into Dragon Trail, it's a lot closer back to square one. In the independents, Mike is now second after Mark jumps ahead because Mike gets a 0-point finish after that race 3. So Mark is on 148, Mike is on 139, Josh on 117, so not too far behind. Fourth is Harry with 95, fifth is Gary, 57, sixth is James with 34, and Stephen is now seventh with 21. Thank you very much for joining us here at Laguna Seca Raceway in Monterey in the United States of America. We will see you next time in Croatia at Dragon Trail in a week's time.